Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about negative exponents. So as you might recall from Algebra 1, when you have a negative exponent, we make that exponent positive by moving the position of the base. So if I have m to the negative n, I can rewrite that with a positive exponent by bringing m, that base, down to the denominator and making the exponent positive. Likewise, if I have 1 over m to the negative n, I can bring that base to the numerator and make the exponent positive. So you're just changing the position of the base, and that changes the sign of the exponent. So let's practice one. We've got negative 9 raised to the negative 1/2 power. Remember that this negative on the outside is not attached. So I'm going to be working just with this highlighted part first. So that negative is just going to linger there. And then 9 to the negative 1/2 power is the same thing as 1 over 9 to the positive 1/2 power. And 9 to the 1/2 power is the square root of 9. So I've got that opposite, and the square root of 9 is a 3. So that reduces to be negative 1/3. 8 to the negative 2/3 power, that would be the same thing as, if I put this over 1, I'm going to bring this base to the denominator. So it's going to become 8 to the positive 2/3 power in the denominator, and I'm going to leave a 1 up in the numerator. And then the cubed root of 8, the cubed root of 8 is 2, 2 squared is 4. So this becomes 1 over 4. Now, when you have a fraction raised to a negative exponent, you can simplify this by changing the position of the fractions. So the numerator 32 raised to the negative 4/5 power, that's going to go to the denominator, and 243 is going to go to the numerator. And now you have a positive exponent. So you flip the whole thing. So 243 over 32 raised to the 4/5 power. That's the same thing as 243 raised to the 4/5 power over 32 raised to the 4/5 power. So the fifth root of 243 is 3. 3 to the 4th is 81. The fifth root of 32 is 2. 2 to the 4th is 16. So that's going to reduce to 81 over 16. 16, and if you like that idea of flipping the fraction, you can make all of the bases you can put all of the bases in parentheses. So if I've got 16 raised to the negative 3/2 power, I can make this a 16 over 1 raised to the negative 3/2 power. And then that 16 over 1 becomes 1 over 16 raised to the positive 3/2 power. And the square root of 1/16 is 1/4. 1/4 to the 3rd power, I'll show you. That's going to be the square root of 1/16 cubed. And the square root of 1/16 is 1/4 cubed, and that's 1 over 64. 1 over 64. So let's practice writing these all as radicals. Now, 2/3 power goes to the x, and 4 is not included. 2/3 power goes to the x, and the 4 is not included. So the 4 is going to stay on the outside, and then we're going to have the cubed root of x squared. Here, all of 4x is raised to the 2/3 power. So we're going to have all of 4x in the radical. Cubed root And then it's not just x that is squared, but all of 4x that is squared. And 4x times itself is 16x squared. And here again, we've got all of x plus 7. All of x plus 7 raised to the 3/4 power. So all of x plus 7, I'm going to put x plus 7 in parentheses. The 4th root, the denominator, is the index. And then that numerator is the exponent of that base. Let's try some more. Now, if you were a little bit skeptical of that, I'm going to highlight the denominators in purple because remember, that was our index. So our index is the square root, which we don't have to show the square root. Our index here on this next one is the 6th root, and our index here is the 4th root. And then what goes inside is 4x minus 1 to the 1st power. That's going to go inside. What's going to go inside here? X to the 5th power. And then what's going to go inside here? All of 2xy to the 3rd power. So let's write that. All of 4x minus 1 to the 1st power. Just x to the 5th power. So if it's just x to the 5th power, that means the -4 is on the outside. And that's because there's a difference when you don't have parentheses versus when you do have parentheses. And then here we have all of 2xy raised to the 3rd power. But I have to distribute that 3, and because I know it's 8, so it's going to be 8x cubed y cubed. And there's our answers. Now we're going to go backwards and we're going to write as an exponent. So here we've got the 5th root of x cubed. Well, that's simply going to be x to the 3/5 power. And on this next one, we've got all of 7x squared y, all of 7x squared y raised to the 1/4 power. And here we've got all of 2x plus 3, all of 2x plus 3 raised to the 1/2 power. So remember, use your highlighter. This goes in the denominator, this index goes in the denominator, this index goes in the denominator. And then what goes in the numerator? Here, I'm going to make it in orange. That goes in the numerator. If it doesn't have an exponent, put parentheses around it and an exponent, parentheses around it and an exponent. Okay, you try this one right here. So press pause, try this one, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to write this next one as an exponent. Okay, welcome back. You should have gotten all of x plus 1 raised to the 3/4 power. And this one over here, we want to write this as an exponent. This would be all of 3x raised to the 1/2 power minus 5. And that's kind of a silly one, I guess, because the only one that you can really write as an exponential is your radical. So that would kind of be a silly problem. But in case you see it, I think they're trying to throw you off by the fact that that minus 5 is just hanging out there. And that concludes our lesson for 4.1.